We all know Roald Dahl as the master of Chocolate Rivers, Giant Peaches, and BFG Dreams. But the man who wrote your childhood favorites lived a life far darker than any of his books. From the trauma of British boarding school to surviving a desert plane crash as a fighter pilot, and even a stint as a real-life spy, Dahl's whimsical stories weren't just fantasies. They were scars written in ink. Born in Wales to Norwegian parents, Dahl's childhood was defined by sudden loss. By the age of 7, he lost both his sister and his father. His mother, seeking a quality education, sent him to British boarding schools, places Dahl later described as battlegrounds. He endured frequent beatings from headmasters and was bullied by older students. This wasn't just discipline, it was a blueprint for characters like the terrifying Miss Trunchbull. When you see her throwing children across a playground, remember to young Road, that authority figure was very real. He used dark humor not just to entertain us, but as a coping mechanism for a world that felt overwhelming. But there was just one sweetness amidst the bitterness. Near his school stood the Cadbury chocolate factory. Dahl and his classmates were often sent samples to test. While his school life was rigid, the factory was a world of secret recipes and industrial mystery. However, right outside those factory walls were the slums. This stark contrast, the have and have-nots, became the heartbeat of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. For Dahl, the desire was shaped by what was just out of reach. It's why the Bucket family's hunger feels so visceral. He saw it every day. If the British schools were his darkness, Norway was his whimsy. Every summer, Dahl escaped to the fjords and dark forests of his ancestral home. There, his grandmother filled his head with folklore about witches and trolls that preyed on children. These weren't Disney fairy tales, they were dangerous. You can see the echoes of these trips in his book, The Witches. The wonder and the danger existed side by side, a hallmark of everything he would eventually write. Dahl's life took an even more cinematic turn during World War II as a Royal Air Force pilot. He narrowly escaped death after crash landing in the Libyan desert. This brush with morality changed him. Transferred to Washington D.C. for a diplomatic role, he unexpectedly became a spy, moving in elite circles where information was the only currency. This secret life eventually led him to write the screenplay for the James Bond film You Only Live Twice. It turns out the man who created Willy Wonka was just as comfortable with 007. Roald Dahl, having previous experience adapting Ian Fleming's works, once again used his eccentric storytelling. When he wrote the screenplay for the film adaptation of Ian Fleming's book Chitty Chitty Bang Bang in 1968. Despite his success, Dahl was famously difficult to please, especially when it came to his movies. He hated the 1971 adaptation of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. He disliked the title change, and he hated the softening of the story. He felt the industry cared more about selling candy than telling his story. He even tried to block the release of the Witches movie in 1990 because they changed the dark ending to a happy one. Roald Dahl believed children could handle the truth, that the world is often unfair and survival requires quick thinking. Roald Dahl passed away in 1990, but his legacy is as sharp as ever. He didn't just write down to children, he wrote for them as he used to be one. The one who survived the beatings, war, and loss. He proved that even in a world of cruel adults, a little bit of magic and a lot of courage can change everything. In conclusion, more than 30 years after his death, his works continue to live on in British literature for their influence. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe for more history videos. Sincerely, the History Pilgrim.